Can you tell me a little bit about what the decision was like to begin? Like, where were you when you decided we're gonna try IVF?
So we actually didn't do IVF initially. Well, so I'll
Okay.
kind of give you
Yeah.
the overview. So we, my husband and I were older when we met. When we first started trying to get pregnant,
Okay.
I must have been 34. And in my mind, let me just say, I don't think that's old. But in the medical
Right.
community, that's on the older
Well,
end.
35 is a geriatric
Yes,
pregnancy.
yes,
Yeah.
And then my husband is 9 years older than me, so he would have been 43-ish at the time. So the great thing about being a little older is that we had established careers and finances and things like that. So we decided to get pregnant. We, as again, type A, control freak kind of gal over here, had like literally never gone without birth control in my life. And then we go to try to get pregnant, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like,
Right.
all the wasted
Yes.
resources on birth control for many, many years.
Right?
So, and I will say, part of it, and when you asked a minute ago, like, what do people not know? There's a lot of good laughs in infertility if you're looking for them, and so that's one of them where you're like, this is the universe just laughing in my face right now. So we decided to try to get pregnant after about 9 months of, so I had been tracking my temperature and a bunch of things for about a year in advance of trying, because control freak. So,
A year in advance?
oh yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I know. My doctor made this recommendation. I don't think anyone in the world actually does this, except for me. Like, she suggested it might be helpful, so I was like, okay. So I tracked my temperature every day for a year prior to trying to get pregnant. And then when we started trying, after 9 months, I asked the doctor, I said, well, at what point do we do like more testing and things? And she had done some testing for me. There had been some questionable lab work early on. So we knew that was part of the reason she wanted me to be tracking temperature and things. She's like, you need to get to know your body because you have there was some suspicion that I might have polycystic ovaries and some just like things that weren't all clicking in place. So I had gone through some testing, and then I said at 9 months, like, I think maybe, when do you get husbands involved? Like, how long does this have to be my issue only? And so she said, well, it's a little early, but we could have your husband get tested. And so he got tested, and we ended up finding out that we both had things that were kind of crippling our process. And so with that, we were able, her recommendation was that we do ICI and IUI, which is basically they do, it's very much a precursor to IVF. So basically in a doctor's office, instead of having to go through a fertility clinic, you can just take a sample of sperm and have it inserted basically like turkey baster style in a doctor's office though. And so you could do it intracervically or interuterine. So I did 9 rounds of that, and over the course of a year, and we got.
And this is all while like seeing when you're ovulating and checking everything, but you're not on any hormones yet.
No, so I didn't end up having to do because we were able to have my cycles pretty dialed in by that point. So we didn't think that I was as much of the problem as my husband was at that juncture. So. So we just kept trying the same thing over and over, and everything was looking really good on my end. So we were like, my doctor was like, I think we're going to get this. We just need to keep trying. So on the 9th round, we finally got pregnant. In that course of that time, so at this point now we're coming up on 2 years, or we're right at about 2 years. And what people don't understand is how day-to-day your living is when you're going through that. And I would say even my husband didn't get it. That every day you are tracking, like, today's day 13, and on day 13 this is what my body's doing, and that means tomorrow's day 14, and on 14 I should be expecting that, like, every single day you're just tracking these parameters and timelines. And so that and you live in 2-week cycles between, like, when am I ovulating and then when do I get to take a pregnancy test. And so so we finally got a positive pregnancy test after that 9th round, and I didn't believe it because I had been getting false positives. I had gotten them like 4 times before. Which
at home? Or, okay.
No, at home. My doctor was like, this doesn't happen. Like, pregnancy tests do not mess up. Why do you keep getting these? And it was just this weird, we still don't know why. We can't, like, she's like, I've never seen this.
I've never even heard of that.
Oh, I know. Again, super special. So I had a very hard time believing that my actual pregnancy was real. So I took many, many tests. And finally at, like, I don't know, 8 weeks or something, I had like a drawer full of tests, and my acupuncturist was like, it's definitely for real. Like, you can stop taking tests every day. So
they're actually expensive too.
Right. So I stopped taking the tests, and I ended up having my son, and healthy baby boy, and he's a delight. He's going to be 7 in just a week. So that was kind of the end of that chapter. And then from the moment that he was born, I was immediately in like this, holy cow, are we going to do that again place? And if we're going to do that again, here's how long it took before. Do we need to start right away? Like, I couldn't even really be in newborn land with my son because I was already, like, every day that was a hard day with him, I thought, how am I going to do this if we're having to go through this infertility stuff again?